Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to go over the basics of speed ramping in After Effects. Now this is going to be a beginner friendly tutorial, so we'll go from start to finish as usual, importing your clips, setting it up, speed ramping, going over how to use the graphs and what they mean, and then the different types of speed ramps you can get. So yeah, if you're a little bit familiar with speed ramping and you just want to learn some new stuff, just use the timestamps below to skip ahead. But anyway, let's get into it. So the first thing we do, we just jump straight into After Effects here. I'm going to go in and grab my drone shot. Now just a note, if you want this drone shot to use to follow along, check out the link in my bio. I've got a stand store. It's only $5 a month, and you'll get you'll just get all the assets that I use for these tutorials so you can follow along quite easily. Just to support the channel and help us keep going. But anyway, let's get back into it. So we've got a drone shot here. I'm going to drag it into the import folder there. Then I'm going to take the drone shot, put it onto this little icon here. It's going to create a composition, the same size, frame rate, and length of the drone shot. So we'll have a look through here. This is the same drone shot we used for 3D tracking video. If you haven't checked that out. Now this is how we have to think of time remapping or speed ramping in After Effects. So this clip here takes 20 seconds to complete. If you go and play through here, it goes from start to finish and it's 20 seconds long. So now for us to start the speed ramping, all we have to do is select the clip, right click, go up to time and go enable time remapping, or just push Control Alt and T. Now what it's done is it's dropped a keyframe at the start of the clip and a keyframe at the end of the clip. Now this is the clip the same clip we used from the 3D tracking video, and I'm just using this because I actually speed ramped this clip and people are asking about that. So it takes 20 seconds for us to get from the first keyframe to the last keyframe. Now to speed ramp this, I want it to take 3 seconds instead of 20 seconds. So I'm going to put my playhead at, say, 3 seconds. Notice it says 3 seconds up here. Grab the end keyframe and drag it back so it lines up. Once it lines up, you'll notice it snaps and the blue here comes up. That means it lines up with your playhead, so it's bang on 3 seconds. So we play this through. Instead of 20 seconds, it takes 3 seconds. And then afterwards, it's just a freeze frame because we don't have any frames left. So all we're going to do is just Control, Shift, and D to split it, and then delete that part. And then drag this thing here all the way back close to this blue line. This blue line over here represents our playhead, just so we can sort of zoom up a bit. And then to have a look at the graph, all you have to do is have at least one of these keyframes selected, go to the graph editor, and then right click this and make sure we're editing on the speed graph, not the value graph. And I'll show you as we go why I edit on the speed graph, because I find I can get it a lot more accurate. Okay, so now to understand this graph, we understand what's going on here. So the top here represents time, obviously 3 seconds, and then the left hand side here represents how much faster than normal speed these keyframes are getting played at. So this is around 6.666 times faster than normal speed. And don't do what I'm doing now. I'm going to undo it just to show you what I mean. So I'm going to undo this, get back to our normal one. So this is back when we had our clip at 20 seconds, the original length. I'm going to go into the graph editor and notice that our clip takes 20 seconds, the original time, and it says 1 seconds per second. So it's 1 times normal speed is how I like to think about it. Then if I go in here, go back to that 3 seconds, or say if I go to 10 seconds here, put it on 10 seconds, then drag this keyframe onto the 10 seconds, then open the graph editor again. Now it's only at 2 times normal speed. See what I mean? So if I go back down to 3 seconds, which is what I want the speed ramp to be. So now I open the graph editor again, and just like I said, now we're at 6.6 times normal speed, because that's how much faster it is than to get to that 20 seconds. Now what we're going to do is just drag this back. Doesn't really matter. And then obviously drag this back like before. Open this back up. Now the only problem with this is that it's linear, so it's just basically a straight line. To change this, you can either highlight both of these and then push F9, which will activate Easy Ease, but I'll show you how to do this manually. Just select one of these keyframes and make sure you're not clicking and dragging the keyframe. Click and drag this handle, drag it down. It should just snap down here on 0. Then push it to the right, grab the other handle, snap down on 0, drag it back to the left, and then just sort of adjust them a bit till you get a nice curve in the middle. And you should be left with something like this. So it's going, so that's how I did that speed ramp. Now, this is going from slow all the way up to fast, and see how it's around 20 something times faster now in the peak. So it doesn't actually matter how you manipulate these handles. It's always going to take 3 seconds to get from that first keyframe to the last keyframe, because you just drag them together. You can do whatever you want to these handles, but this is how I did my speed ramp here. If you want it to speed ramp, you know, over on the right here, you just push these back over here. Then it'll take longer to start, and it's actually going to speed ramp over on that side. Likewise, you can pull this back, pull this one to the left, and it's obviously going to start faster and then taper off. So you can pretty much do whatever you want with these speed ramps. Now, I'll show you, I'll go back to how I had it before. If you want to add that nice motion blur, now I will warn you, anything to do with motion blur in After Effects, whether you're adding motion blur to you know, animated layers, or even just this motion blur here, it's going to slow your computer down, so make sure that your computer can handle it before you do it. I usually add it right at the end, so I don't have to have the computer compute it while I'm trying to do my editing. So all we have to do is go up to the effects and presets. If you don't have that, just select the window you want it to go in, go to window, go down to effects and presets, so it turns up there. Click in here and just write CC Force motion blur here. Just drag that onto the drone shot. I'm going to close the graph editor, and if I play that through, notice it's just adding a bit of motion blur. So if I go through to one of these frames when it's the fastest, you can see here it's just blurring the lines of this telephone pole, just to give it a bit, you know, a bit more sort of smoothness. It's sort of like a stylized effect there. So that's the first way to do speed ramping. Now I'll show you this right here. I'm going to delete the CC Force just so while I work on it. Now this is going from slow, fast, and then slow. And notice how when these handles snap on the bottom, it snaps at 0. So if you do it this other way, you don't really want. So notice this is actually going from slow, fast to slow. If we want to go from fast, slow to fast, so we can do, so say a speed ramp like they do on those car video edits, you know, when they do fast speed ramps for the car edits. All we have to do is come back here, just drag these handles back just so it gets back to normal. Then we're going to go to around 1.5 seconds, this is about here. I'm going to add a keyframe, so push this button here. Now it's added a keyframe here. Then I'm going to go and lift this keyframe. So I'm dragging the handle, not the keyframe. If you grab the keyframe itself, it doesn't snap up and down. I just want to grab the handle only, so it snaps at that speed up the top there. Snap that one back up there. Now select this middle keyframe, and we're going to drag these handles down just roughly somewhere, and push it back here, push it back there. So now we're going from, and then make sure these handles are dragged all the way to the left, and then these handles are dragged all the way to the right. Now it doesn't look very good. All we have to do is select this. So if we go and do what we did before and just drag this down to the bottom and where it snaps, this isn't what we want, because this is at 0. It's snapping down at 0. Remember, we want to go to at least 1 times normal speed. So in the middle, it's playing at normal pace. If we snap it to 0, it's going to come to a full stop in the middle of the clip and then speed back up again. We want it to go at 1 times normal speed. So all we're going to do for that, make sure we got this keyframe highlighted, right click it, and then go to keyframe velocity and incoming velocity. So this line here coming into the keyframe represents the incoming velocity, and this outgoing velocity represents this curve here going out of the keyframe. So remember, we want to go back to 1 times normal speed. So all we're going to do is go to the seconds/second, go here and just change it to 1. Go to the other one, change that to 1. Then continuous lock, outgoing to incoming. We're just going to lock that so it doesn't move. So now we've got our clip here going from fast to slow, well, just normal speed, and then back up to fast. And this is what you do if you were doing those fast car speed ramping videos and you wanted your clip to go seamlessly from transition to transition. You would just speed ramp them this way so that the fast goes into the fast of the next clip, and it just keeps ramping seamlessly. And just make sure that everything's going the same way. So if we add CC Force Motion Blur back on the drone shot again, then we push play, notice it goes normal speed, back up. So that's basically how you do those car edits if you want to speed ramp them. And then have your speed ramps, your joins sort of hitting on the beat, and then, yeah, I guess that's how you get them. But anyway, that's speed ramping in After Effects, the very basics of speed ramping. I hope that helped. Remember, check out the link in my description for my stand store to jump on that subscription, and you can get this exact video to practice with. I'll put a couple of versions in there just in case you've got a slower computer. I'll have, ones with sort of less resolution. But anyway, follow me on TikTok, Instagram. But yeah, hope you learned something. Thanks for coming by. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.